Let us begin today. Shaar Aleph, Perek Yud Gimel. And I want to do some insight, a minute to learn it inside, and then to talk about. We learned that there is Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, three chalakim to the Neshama. Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama. Nefesh being closest to Gashmias and the Guf, and Neshama being the closest to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Nefesh is not the body. The Guf, you have a Guf. The Guf gets a Nefesh. The Nefesh, the big word is, the Guf gets a Neshama. Vayipach ba'ap of Nishmas Chaim. But it's not as simple as that. It's more sophisticated than that. And if you look in the Chumash, you'll actually see it. First you get the Nefesh. And Nefesh has, as we learned, I just want to review, two parts to it itself. Even the Nefesh has two parts. There's the Nefesh, which is part of the Neshama, and there's a part of the Nefesh which is part of the Guf. So in the words of the Ramchal, there's the Nefesh Elikis and the Nefesh Hachiyoni. Words of the Balatanya, there's Nefesh Elikis, Nefesh HaBahamis. Same idea. The idea is that which is, so Nefesh goes all the way down to the life force within a person. Hadam hu ha-Nefesh. Even Dam is Nefesh. But that's not the Nefesh Elikis, that's the Nefesh HaBahamis. Right? Kangaroos have blood also that's flowing. It's a Nefesh HaBahamis. But it has, the Guf and the Nefesh of a person has Taryag, Shasa, Evarim, Ramach Evarim, Shasa Gidim, right? So the same thing, B'makbil is the mitzvahs of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or the Nefesh Elikis, which locks into it. So Shasa and Ramach connected the mitzvah. So that's the Nefesh, and that's where we can hook in easily. Then there's the Ruach, and then there's the Neshama. That, says Reb Chaim Volozhin early on in Perek Yud Aleph, Perek Yud Beis, is also makbil to Machshava, Dibur, Maisa in descending order. Machshava is in the Bechina of Neshama, and Ruach, as we all know, is the Bechina of Dibur, and Maisa is in the Bechina of Nefesh. So you have, right, this is the big trifecta. Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Maisa, Dibur, Machshava. Machshava, Dibur, Maisa. So what we learned last week was, first of all, an important insight that goes through all three. Yud Beis talks about Machshava. Perek Yud Gimel talks about Dibur, and Perek Yud Dalet talks about Maisa. He's going in the order of Machshava, Dibur, and Maisa. We're in Perek Yud Gimel, so today we're going to talk about Dibur. But I want to remind you of something very important, and that is that I think it would be natural to think that everything we do starts with a machshava, works into a dibur, and then goes into a maisa, right? Mm-hmm. Whether that's like a quick thing that happens if an art, in a second, or whether it's something that takes years. I've been thinking about this for years, and finally you start talking about it, and then finally get the maisa, which may or may not be true. I mean, many people do maisa without any machshava at all. And there's really many machshavas that have no maisa.
Is the lave connected to the
machshava
or machshava?
Machshava, l'chayr, right? That's actually what we're going to learn today. But how does a lave fit into this? But it may or may not be true that a maisa that we do has in zich a machshava, dibur, a maisa. So you can take like, I think I'm going to drink a glass of water, machshava. Dibur, I'm going to make a bracha, or I'm going to ask for the water. The maisa, I drink the water. So machshava, dibur, a maisa. But it's really a much deeper thing than that. Because in the world, being that it's connected, the parts of the neshama, and for that matter, there's another parallel here, which is the oilamos that are going on in Shemayim. It's hard to talk about because we don't necessarily understand them that well, but there's oilamos in Shemayim. So machshava is masakin the oilam of Bria, and Dibur is masakin the oilam of Yitzira, and Maisa, of course, is masakin the world of Asiya. So we'll learn more about that in the Hagah and Perek Yud Gimel. But in other words, it's not just, this is the point, it's not just that when I have a machshava to do something, let's say it never comes l'maisa. It never even comes to Dibur. So it doesn't mean that it was nothing. A machshava is a machshava. That's masak in the world of machshava. Machshava itself does something. If I have If you have a machshava about another person, I think the Mesilas Yesharim says this. That if I have a machshava toiv about another person, even if I never do anything about it, I just think, like I really feel bad for that person, or good for that person, or I want to help that person. So even if you never actually do anything about it, it affects your relationship. He doesn't even know about the machshava. We hardly know about the machshava ourselves. but you have a machshava. A machshava is a tikkun farzich. It's unto itself a tikkun. Besides for the fact that it's maybe lidei dibur or maybe lidei maisa. Same thing as with dibur. When a person does a dibur, it changes the world. A dibur changes the world, whether it comes l'maisa or not. So what we need to understand, the omek hadavar is that it's not just machshava dibur maisa as a sequence. It's machshava dibur maisa as three things that go on in our lives. We think about things, we talk about things, and we do things. And each if you do everything, both you thought about it. Also, you spoke about it, and you actually did something about it. Bingo! You've got the
trifecta.
The trifecta. We're probably the only two that know what a trifecta is. But the 3 for 3, you really got the 3. But what that's called is shleimus. That's shleimus. So much. Just to give you something to think about. There's so many things that work in 3, like the 3 of us. Bracham shaleshes b'Torah, Yivarecha Hashem, Yorer Hashem, Yis Hashem. All of those. It's all connected. Machshava dibur maisa, nefesh ruach and neshama.
Three things. The world stands on 3.
World stands on 3 things. The 3 is a big number, and you'll find that the 3 are always connected. Right? In other words, like Avram Avinu was a big philosopher, but Yitzchak put his neck out for the Jewish people. And Vayetze Yitzchak lasuach basada, of Dibur. And Yaakov was Lamaisa, 12 Shvatim, Klal Yisrael, Tachliti, as it was. So, but that's the Nakuda here that I want to keep in mind, is that it's not just 3 in sequence, it's 3 things. It's 3 different tikkunim that we make. Our machshava accomplishes something. Our dibur accomplishes something. And whether, by the way, it could be positive, it could be negative. Not necessarily positive. A machshava ra can accomplish something negative. So we talked about machshava. Now Perek Gimel. Let's read a little bit about the dibur. V'chein be'inyan hahisayrus shelamala eidei b'chinas hadibur. Yud Gimel. Shaar Aleph Yud Gimel. V'chein be'inyan hahisayrus. Well, you don't have this in yours?
No. We discussed what Thomas, the energy base.
So I'll tell you. Thank you for catching me on that. I know. I was hoping nobody would notice. I skipped a little bit about the pshat in Gehenna because it was getting me depressed.
It doesn't apply to anybody here. Right?
Yeah, but I spoke it out that as much as machshava dibur maisa of toiv. Let me just say this, and I'm going to go back to it. But as much as machshava dibur and maisa of toiv create your olam haba itself. So he says that so much so that your machshava, that is your schar olam haba. Your schar olam haba is the light that you bask in from your good thoughts and your good diburim and your good maisa. So the same thing is true with an avera, that a person does machshavas rois or diburim ra or maisim roim. So you've created tumah, you've created an energy from the klipa, you've created choshech. And that choshech, which is full of bilbul and confusion and pain, is the time. Eov called all of his Yisurim choshech. Achlaylo yichashchuni. Right? He talked about choshech. A person is going through a lot of suffering in life. It's a time of choshech. The Gedolim called the Holocaust the Yemei HaChoshech. Choshech means what is going on? Like there's such confusion, and we all have a little bit of choshech. We should never have that choshech, but we all have that a little bit of confusion. It's dark. I don't have the clarity in knowing where I'm going and what I'm doing and why this is happening, and this doesn't feel clear. That's Yisurim. That's Gehenna.
Esther Astu.
Yeah, Hester Panim is Gehenna. It's a Choshech. Golus it's a Bechina of Gehenna. If a person has Yisurim in this world, that's part of that Choshech. So that's why you have the Choshech here. You don't have the Choshech as much in Shamayim. But it's the catch-all is Choshech. The catch-all for Olam, for Shaar is Or. So really, like an interesting way to think is Yotzer Or Vore Choshech. It's about Or and Choshech a lot. V'chein binyan ha'yisayir v'shulamalo. So I will get back to that. But that's also Tumah. Tumah is something which comes from Choshech. V'chein binyan ha'yisayir v'shulamalo ayidei b'chinas ha'dibur. What happens in Shamayim because of Dibur? Speaking. Amar Amos Hanavi. This is the end of the period of Nevuah. Amos Hanavi said, Ki hine Yotzer Harim Uvarei Choshech Umagid La'adam Mas Seichai. What did I say? Ki hine Yotzer Harim Uvarei Ruach. Sorry. Umagid La'adam Mas Seichai. Your speech, siach. Kol hayom he sichasi, but the word in Tanakh is seichai. If you're a yeshiva, you say sichai, but if you open the Tanakh, you say seichai. It says seichai. Ki hine yotzer harim uvarei ruach. He creates mountains. Amos said. He creates the wind. It's very interesting that Yitzira has to do with the mountains, and Bria has to do with the wind. I told you I kept on asking last week, so windy a couple of weeks ago. I was kept on asking, because where's the wind come from? Trees, right? The trees. It's a bria. Umagid la'adam ma'aseichai. So he says here, Ki amru b'zayar, says in the Zayar Lech Lecha, in all these places, Shaloshoin Haggadah Shayach al Rosa de Milsa. There's a difference between, now we start to analyze and analyze the idea of speech. So speech could be dibur, speech could be amira, right? Sometimes they're combined. Vayidaber Hashem al Moshe lemor. You have Vayidaber, and then you have lemor. Pashup Shat, what was Vayidaber Hashem al Moshe daber or ledaber? Why is it lemor? So the Pashup Shat is that dibur is in general terms, and this is going to become important for us. When you speak in very general terms, like what is this? It's a thing. So it's a thing. It's a davar. In more specific terms, it's a kos. But people talk about their stuff. Stuff. So that's dvarim ba'alma. So dibur, dever, which is pestilence in the Eser Makos. So dever, the reason it was called dever is because there was it was a swarm. It was a swarm of pestilence. You couldn't see. Oh, there's 76 bees coming at me. It's a swarm of bees. They spoke about it in they can only speak about it in general terms. That's what davar is. So Vayidaber Hashem el Moshe. Hashem spoke to Moshe sometimes in general terms, lemor, to say it in specifically. You speak it out to Kollel Yisrael in detail. For Moshe, Rabbeinu was good enough to generality to speak it out in detail. Amar is like an amir is the summit of a mountain. The point of a mountain is amir, also in Arabic. An amir is the highest point, the pinnacle, the very, very specific. The mountain is a mountain, but the summit is already godless. There's a prat there. So lemor is talking about befrat. So, what about, then there's a word, siach. So, ma'ahavti Torasecha kol hayoim hisichasi. Siach. So, siach means, the way Rashi explains it, in that pasuk, kol hayoim hisichasi, a sicha is seretzach alein, shmuz. Like this, just conversation, you talk about it. Kol hayom yisichasi means that I like talking about Torah, I'm obsessed, I just like talking about Torah, I'm schmoozing about it all the time. Not saying something, it's not a mirror, it's not a deep word, it's a siach.
Last concept.
The siach of the siach for the
Siach shel avdei avos. Siach, yafes sichasa shel avdei avos mei amirasan shel bonim. So, in other words, even though it was just siach, it was just like, I'm just talking, I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying. So I don't know what that means. That's something we need to analyze here. I'm just saying. Just say. Like the whole Kol Nidre was like the biggest moment of the year. It's all about just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm just saying. So that's siach. So, but here's interesting. Magid Haggadah shel Pesach. So what is the lashon of Haggadah? Lahagid ba'boiker chastecha ve'emunascha b'leilos. What's lahagid? So the Zohar says here, he brings, which of all these Zohars that he quotes seems to be this is a klal, l'shoin Haggadah shayach haraza de milsa. That Haggadah, in terms of different forms of speech, Haggadah refers to the hidden part of that which is said. Give you an example, like you have Gemara, you have halacha, and then you have agadata. So why is it called agadata? Agadata means something you tell. So they will say, well, the stories, but it's not all stories. It's not just stories. It's the hidden part of the halacha, and that's why it is where it is. By the way, it's not just like, oh, it's agadata, let's just skip it. Agadata is the pshat that it always connects to the halacha, even if you don't see it. You have to think about it. It always connects to the halacha in the Gemara. And this is the Raz of the Milsa. The Raz of the Milsa means this is the secret of what we're learning. Sometimes the halacha can seem so dry, in the middle of Erev, and so all of a sudden there's an agadata, which if you'll make a kasher, maybe the rugged shaver in his farm is makasher every agadata to the halachas. Like there's it's a good way to learn. So Haggadah. So now let's go back to the pasuk. Hine yoytzer hara bar ruach, not our Indian right now. Umagi la'adam masechai. That it comes to Shemayim. When we come to the Shemayim, we're going to get what do we call it? Like the tape is going to play back to us, a playback
Rewind.
of Masechai, everything that I've said. Transcript, oral. So, let's, in some of our cases, that will take a very long time. So, you see, tzaddikim don't talk very much.
It's all on YouTube anyway. It's all on YouTube anyway now.
Yeah. No need. Lahagid la'adam masechai means, according to the way he wants to tell us, is that when we come to Shemayim, it's not just we're going to get a playback of everything that we said, but lahagid, the Raz of the Milsa. What's the secret of what you said? What did it do? What did it accomplish? What happened when you said this? Now, this could be positive, this could be negative. Sicha could be Torah, it could be Tefillah, Siach, Yitzchak, Lasuach, Basada. You daven, then you finish davening. What did I do? It's just Dibur. Havel, Piv. But when you come to Shemayim, it's Magid La'adam Masechai. You'll see clearly what every words that you forgot that you said. Look what this word did, look what that word did. Hizir Kanas Ha'adam, what he's saying here, Amos Hanavi, is telling a person, Machmas Hayoisai Ata. Do you know what the word Navi means, by the way? Navi. Nivs Vasayin. Lips, speaking. He's not named after his nevuah, he's named after what he speaks out. Nivs Vasayin. That's what it means. Right? Named after his words, what he says. Replaced by a Magid. See, the Haggadah Shel Pesach is not, the tell your children. It's not just about tell them the story. It's what came out of the story. What came out of the story was of Yetzias Mitzrayim was a Klal Yisrael, Torah, Raza de Milsa.
Writing it down is like a combination of masa.
Halachically, yeah. Also, moving your lips.
Yeah.
Neev means moving. Neev Sosai means moving your lips. That's what the translation.
No, that means the articulation.
The words that come out.
Yeah. Hizer kana sa'adam. Hizer kana. It's a machlokes, but machlokes. I think the Rambam and the Ramban, whether it refers to Hashem speaking to us or us speaking to the, whether it's Neev Sosai or Navi Levav Chachma. So you see, like Rivka had a nevuah. She's going to have Yaakov and Esau, but she never spoke it out, ever. So Yetta was called a nevuah. The Ramban's right, that nevuah is la davke, something that you speak out. We live in this world, we're part of this world. We don't really see, what we're doing, what we're not doing. You think about it like some kid or a president-elect has his fingers on the nuclear controls. Wonder what happens if I push this. It doesn't look outside. See, whoa, there went Belgium. There went. We don't realize if you're living in a closed, guarded circumstance. You don't realize what the power of what you're doing is. So we're living in the Olam HaShafel Sheina Royo Masik HaBinyan Oyari. So we don't see the binyan and we don't see the destruction of that binyan. Chas v'shalom. Hanasil Mala B'Ha'elamais, which happens in Shemayim B'Ha'elamais Mikol Dibur V'Dibur Shalai. He's going to be marich on this, but first Yesod is we don't see it. We don't see the power of words in Shemayim. It would be possible, like the normal way of thinking is, in Yiddish there's an expression, Amal v'samem shret. So I said something, so what? So I said something. Now we know that you say the wrong words to your husband or wife or your children, you can change the whole relationship. You got to be careful with. We know the power of words, but that's already the extent of what we know. What it does in Shemayim, so we don't know. So, but a person could say, so I said. So what if I said something? Right, my actions speak louder than my words. Sometimes. Shetifal shum pula. What does it do already? V'inyan ba'olam. Avo yedan emana. It is clear knowledge. Shekol dibur v'sicha kala shalai. That every single word that we say, even small talk, kala, sicha kala, small talk, l'chol asher yivate b'svasav. Anything that you bring out, you articulate with your lips, loy isabe, never gets lost. So whether it's good or whether it's bad, so this is a pretty heavy idea here of what happens. Now I just want to, just for the sake of today, I'm not going to skip this, but I want to skip the Hagah if it's in the next place here, and just read a little Bekias in the Zayars over here. Saba means the Zayar Chadash. It's called the Saba. And he says, Afilu.
Saba is referring to what?
The Zayar Chadash. There's a Zayar of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, and then there was different likutim that they made from the members of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, who the laws of Rav Shimon. That's a Zayar Chadash.
That's called Saba.
That's called Saba. Afilu hevel de puma aser v'duchte islay. See if we can get through the Aramaic here. Even hevel de puma. Hevel de puma is less than dibur even, right? It's like hevel pm shel tinoike shel beis rabban, the Gemara says. So hevel pm means like just noise, really, or just words without any kavanah. Like if you go into a first grade, Rabbi Haber, Moshe, it's in a way it's hevel pm. They don't necessarily, it's by rote. They don't necessarily even understand it. But even that, afilu hevel de puma aser v'duchte islay has its place. V'kutshabrichu oven b'nei madav, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu does with it what he does with it, says the Zayar. V'afilu mila de barnash, even a single word of a person. V'afilu kala, even just a sound. Lehava b'reikanaya, it is not reik. We say al tishivenu reikam milfanacha. There's no reik in words. Ba'aser v'duchte islu l'kula. There is a place where everything goes, where everything is stored. So it's all stored, right? It's like this thing, it's like all in there.
Like Nigunim.
Okay. Parshas Mitzayra, says the Zohar. Kol mila o mila da'apik barnash mipume. Similar idea. Every word that a person puts out from their mouth, salka la'ela, goes up to Shamayim, ubaka rikian, and breaks through the walls of the heavens. Va'olas la'asir da'olas, and it goes to the place where it goes. Reish Parshas Nasai, says in the Zohar Parshas Nasai, da'hu mila da'apik barnash mipume, that a word that a person puts out from their mouth, salka ubaka rikian v'kaima ba'asir dekaiman. It goes and it breaks the parts. So you see from the Zohar throughout that words not only have a power in Shemayim, but it seems to be a specific thing here that it breaks through.
It's a force.
Yeah, it's like it breaks through. And we don't find that about machshava. We found about machshava, let me remind you, that when you think something good, let's say, so you're mosif or in the or hapashit. Just like a different idea here. It's bokeach haloinei rakia. Right?
We've heard that by tefillah or tears, but now you're saying all these.
Every dibur.
Every dibur.
But that's the whole thing of tefillah. Tefillah b'dibur, and that's why we talk when we daven. We don't daven with our just with our minds. Shekachol hayoytze mipi v'yaseh lamala. Everything that comes out of our mouth, yeyaseh lamala, something gets done in Shemayim. But ma'or koyach elyon. Hein b'dibur toiv moisiv koyach b'koychas hakdoshim v'asim dvar b'picha lintoya Shemayim. Yeshayahu says that by talking, we're actually doing plantations in Shemayim. A little bit further in the Zohar Emar. There's 2 points here. One is Reb Chaim Volozhin's big bucky in Zohar, apparently. But sounds like interesting. But also what he's showing is that Zoharically speaking, or Kabbalistically speaking, this is a theme throughout. He's going through almost every parsha where you find this. It's not just like an obscure. I'll tell you why I'm mentioning this, because a lot of times you can see, especially today with Google, you can have some kind of a crazy principle, and if you research enough, you can find 100 rayas to that, and then publish it, and you got a book, and I just saw a book put out that it's okay for Mashiach to be dead. So he brought like a lot of Mar Makomos. Interesting. What's the Mar Makomos? Dead. It's okay for Mashiach to die. Meaning. No, but. You can, if you come across a medrash sometimes, it could be a medrash pliya. It's not a riot to anything. You have 100 people say, there's one medrash pliya, somebody said like that. So certainly we don't paskin like that, and it doesn't shape Jewish philosophy, das yachid. But you can collect, by being a big enough bucky or a big enough Googler, you can collect a lot of medrash pliyas and put them all together and create a shita. But it's not really a shita because each one doesn't stand on its own. So on the other hand, if you want to bring out the Shitas HaZohar, if you will. So the Shitas HaZohar, this is what he's saying, because I'm not telling you like some kind of a strange Zohar. I'm telling you like this is a derech in the whole Zohar. That's Zohar Emar, Leislach Mila o Mila. Oman de Apik Mila Kadisha Mipume. Somebody who gives out a holy word from their mouth. Mila Doraisa, a word of Torah. Isavin Mine Kola V'Solik Le'ela. Out from that comes a kol. Now this is a chiddush here, and it goes lamala. These are kedoshei malka ilah umisatrin bereisha. A kol goes up to Shemayim, and it wakes up the malachim, which are called the kedoshei malka ilah umisatrin bereisha, and they get crowned ukadei nishtaka chetbas aleila v'sata. And then you've created a simcha of joining the Shemayim and the Aretz. Now, what does this mean? I don't know, but it sounds really good, no? In other words, if you say a word of Torah, so the word of Torah actually wakes up the Malachim, and then the Malachim connect the Chedva of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that he has in our word of Torah, it connects it to this world, and the chedva is in this world too. So the world becomes a happier place.
What's the touch of Kehillat?
Happiness.
Yeah.
Something like that. Chedva.
What's Kehillat?
Chedva.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of words for simcha, right? No. Well, no. I mean, why? Don't go to a shver, one go to Nizu. Yeah. Chedva.
Same word,
Hmm?
no?
Yeah, but that's a machlokes what that means. Chedva, like Gila Rina Ditza Chedva Ava Achva Shalom V'Reis. Lashonos of Simcha. Gila means you run around in circles. We're happy. That's Gila, right? Chasana, circles. Did you do your miles yet? Yeah, circles. Make the rounds. Yeah. I don't hear it so much. That's Gila. And Rina is when you're singing, and Ditza is when you're laughing, right? And Chedva is when you feel really good. And then comes Ava, right? This is a different Kisharim that you can have at a chassan, as I was saying, Gila, Rina, Ditza, Chedva. There's a maskil came once to the Vilna Gaon, and he told them that. The maskil said, "You're a bucky." The Vilna Gaon said to the maskil, he says, "You're supposed to be a bucky in diktuk." I'm not sure which one of the famous maskilim was, but it was wrote a book on diktuk, dialectic. So he says, "What's your how do you understand the difference between ditza and chedva?" So the maskil said to the Vilna Gaon, "There's really no difference.
They're spelled different.
Ditza and Chedva, it's the same thing. It's Shemus on your Dafim." So the Vilna Gaon put him in Cherem. You are in Cherem. He came sort of disguised not as a maskil, but if you're a Ben Torah, you understand that every word has a completely different meaning, and it was only maskil. It's the same thing, just synonyms. So there's no synonyms. That was but Dafka, the story is about Ditza and Chedva. So. Vayin Baruch Parshas Vayakel. Look at the Zohar Parshas Vayakel. Neirois niflois inin hadibur shalmilan kadishin dairaisa. Unbelievable what happens when we speak Torah. Shekol Olman Nehirin Mechedvas. The whole world lights up from Chedva. Usmachais. Here you got all the words. Smachais. Vegil. Simcha. Gila. Tavaoina behecholin kadishin iloin. They're dancing when we talk Torah. They're dancing in the Shemaim. It's lit up. U'misachin l'ba'atrin kadishin. V'ayin parshas kedoshim parakei seif ayin aleph. V'chein mevayir b'kaimis rabbim b'tikunim, because the tikunim are different than the sava. Tikunim are different. Tikunei zayar. Again, mikol dibor v'kol v'hevel doiraisa. Even every word, every sound of Torah, like it's sliisa or tefillah nivraim kama malachim kedoshim. We create angels. Ubehepach, b'dibur asher loy toiv chas v'shalom hu baina rekiem v'aylamei shel shav l'sam. Rachmana l'tzlam. V'garam chas v'shalom harisas v'chorban ha'aylamei sidrei ha'merkava k'doshim nagayin l'shar shadibur. I just want to point out something that we always think about like lashon hara as it's like I'm doing collateral damage. Like I'm doing damage here. What I don't realize is that a dibur ra is not just when I'm hurting somebody. A dibur ra is I'm being hares alamis. Changing the entire binyan and minyan of the entire world. Everything that's standing on the Shemayim is with the word of lashon hara. Harisas v'chorban ha'olamai sidrei ha'merkava hakadoshim. After years of working on my energy, I asked Rabbi Rav Scheinberg why he never talks on Shabbos. Like what's wrong with talking on Shabbos? With Makesher, talking on Shabbos. So he told me that there's the Yerushalmi that mentions it, which there is. Tosfos brings it in the end of Masechta Shabbos. He brings the Yerushalmi that there were those that didn't talk on Shabbos. So I said, yeah, but what's wrong with talking on Shabbos? So he explained to me, it wasn't the minhag to ask him too many. He had a lot of hanhagas, that he didn't like to talk about. He wore a lot of tzitzis. People didn't ask him so much. He didn't like when he asked him, but I asked him.
Nonetheless.
Yeah, Torah, Wilmot on Torah, with the Union talking on Shabbos. Also, it was interesting with these hanhagas that he would never let anybody else do them. So it was like a funny thing. Like if they're good hanhagas, why can't I do it also? You know. So the Indian talking on Shabbos, he said, is much harder than fasting on Yom Kippur. Not talking is very difficult. It's a very difficult tinus. But he explained to me that the malacha of Shabbos is, people think the malacha of Shabbos, you're not supposed to work on Shabbos. So, which of course is not the pshat. Like, you're allowed to lift up a pile of books, and walk inside the house, and you can't walk outside with a feather. So it's not just a question of you're not allowed to, like, what's the work? It'd be easier to cook something sometimes, than it would be to eat it raw. So like Onuk Shabbos, easier to talk on the phone than to walk over to somebody's house a mile and a half to tell them something. So, like, it's not just about you're not supposed to work on Shabbos. So he said that the pshat is, according to the Kuzari, that you're not supposed to create on Shabbos, and like you leave the creation to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's on the creation of the world. So if you're mevashel something, you're taking something which is raw, you're making it something which is edible and cooked. Teviyah, shaziyah, all of these things are forms of creation. He says the hardest form of creation to understand is haitzah, carrying something from one rishus to another. Why is that? What have you created? So Tosfos Taka says in Shabbos, Beis Amud Aleph, malacha geruahi. It's a hard malacha because what are you creating? But on the other hand, that's all he explained to me, that if you carry something if you put something in this place, and now I put this in this place, so metaphysically it's a different thing. It's different. In other words, the makom of something creates a difference in the chefs of the thing. It's not just you take a person. Sometimes when we're in one environment, we act one way. We're in a different environment. You're in a different way. So your environment is important also. So he told me that the Nefesh Hachaim tells us that when you speak, you're creating worlds, you're creating malachim, you're creating. Dibur is creating. So it's Tainus Dibur on Shabbos. Doesn't even talk Torah, by the way. Didn't talk Torah either. Just he had a job that he was the Rav of Mattersdorf. So somebody asked him. So if he had to, he would say a word. That's the only time he would break the Tainus. Mutter, like that. Awesome. No conversation, no talking and learning. And the shmuz that he gave on Shabbos was after Rabbeinu Tamshki, so he kept not 72 minutes, but much longer, every Shabbos. So at 72 minutes, he allowed himself to talk, do sichas musar. That was his famous shmuz that he gave. Everybody came. But the point is that the dibur, he explained to me, is a level of creating things. And you're not supposed to create on Shabbos. So, like to him, Lefi Madrigasa, it was a davar borer, like what was going on every time that he was talking. Hence, he didn't. The truth is, as I mentioned many times, he didn't talk too much during the week either. Like it wasn't for him. It really wasn't that hard. It wasn't, like I mentioned here. What?
He
davened. No, because during the week you're supposed to sheishes yom tasim malachta. He davened. Yeah. What was the din? He did. But I think I once mentioned that the Rebbitzin told me it took her a year until she worked out that he doesn't talk on Shabbos. Because she didn't notice it. Okay. This is the key paragraph here. Goyim chas v'shalom v'harisus v'chorban oilamay sidrei merkava hakadosh anagoyim l'sharish hadibur. Don't realize what's going on here. Ayin zoyer tzav haleslach tav ubish. Oilam labriya shirayos v'neyodos mahin rayos. Woe unto those that us people that we see, but we don't know what we see. Every dibur has a place. So Shlomo HaMelech says in Kehillat, Ki oif hashamayim yoylech hazakol. A little birdie heard me. The walls have ears. It's also the same the Gemara. I understood something very interesting here. That the Gemara in Avodah Zarah tells a story that Antoninus, and it was the Roman governor, and Rabbi Yehuda Nasi were having a conversation. And Antoninus asked Rabbi, they were friends. Antoninus asked Rabbi a question. And Rabbi said, I don't want to speak about it. So he said, it's a secret. between you and me, I don't want to speak about it. So he said, but nobody's here because the Gorsatanidas used to kill anybody that saw him even going into Rebbe's house. Used to kill him. Crazy stuff. But, the Romans like nuts, They used to kill people like nuts. But so Rebbe told him, Oif HaShamayim Yerluchas HaKol. He quoted a pasuk in Koheles. Oif HaShamayim Yerluchas HaKol, that a bird will take the voice. So always had understand, a little birdie told me, the walls have ears, I can't take any chances. He's saying something different. I believe, according to this Nefesh Hachaim, what Rabbi Yehuda Nasi was being Megala was that Ki Oif HaShamayim Yerluchas HaKol. Take a look at this. Kama alfei mari de gadfi de achtan lo v'salkum lo mari de madam dayanan lei. That the angels are called oath. They're balei knafayim. And when I'm saying a word, there are balei knafayim that are grabbing the word and taking it to Shemayim and taking it to another place and taking it to another place. So it's not about nobody's listening. There's malachim here that are listening, and they're taking every word that I'm saying and taking it up to Shemayim. So I understood that what Rabbi Yehuda Nasi didn't want to say to Antoninos was not because he was afraid somebody was going to hear or anything like that. It wasn't about confidentiality. It wasn't about that he was worried about somebody bugging the room. What he was saying is that the words unto themselves have a power. It's not about somebody hearing, even if you're alone in a room. Hence you have all these ideas of al tiftach peh l'satan. Sometimes it's not worth, just don't even say something. It's not worth saying something, Growing up, if somebody had cancer, they always said he had Yener Machla. Which I always found odd.
Your name? Yeah.
He has that illness. They didn't want to, person has a liver illness or a heart attack. You say what he has? Cancer, Yener Machla. So they didn't want to, somehow or another, they understood that they didn't want to articulate even the words.
Is that above myself?
No, so kind of according to what we're learning, it's a real thing. I mean, the point is, I guess, we talk too much, articulate too much. Nicht ausdarf min aros reden. You see, there's also I just want to make one more point here before we end.
So is it better to speak Aramaic on a weekly basis because the law will not take it?
Right. Apparently, Antoninos didn't know. Well, I don't know better now. That's too big of a question for me. But that's certainly what the sugya is there. That it has to do with something you don't even want the malachim to take. But I'm saying, I just want to say another thing that when you think something, you think something. When you speak it out, which sometimes is good, you've taken it from something you think into something you say, which now you made it more gashmius, right?
Finite.
Yes. And that finite part could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing. It's a good thing, sometimes if you have a machshava of Torah or, you have some kind of a thought, so sometimes you speak it out and it doesn't work. And sometimes you speak it out, you get it a lot clearer. So speaking it out could be a very good thing because you taken ruchnis, take it to gashmis. And sometimes it's not a good thing because you see the Mekubalim, when they taught their Talmidim, they always taught Beremes. They never spoke it out. Why don't they just speak clearly? they don't speak clearly. Not the Zohar, not Rosh Bar Yochai, not the Saba Kadisha, not the Arizal. They don't speak clearly. Even if you know the stuff, it doesn't speak clearly because they didn't want to lose the Bechina of Bachshava by putting it into Dibur. So there was an art here to being able to transfer knowledge without speaking it out. See, it's like Reb Tzadok says, if you see something which is very inspiring, a beautiful sunrise or sunset or something like that, so you're very inspired by it. Wow, So the first thing you do is you go to your wife and tell her, "Wow, you should see that sunset that I saw. It was really something." First of all, there's nothing inspiring to hear about a sunset. If you didn't see it, wow, I'm inspired now. You saw a sunset. Doesn't do anything. But b'chlal, you shouldn't speak it out because when you speak it out, you've taken ruchnias, turned it into gashmis.
Same with the camera. People go, they take a picture.
It ruins all that.
And they don't experience it. It's just behind the lens.
Right. So sometimes you keep something in the olam of machshava, but people feel if they didn't take a picture, like they weren't there. It which is an interesting psychological thing, like if it's not going to last. But sometimes like it's better to keep something in your machshava than to keep it. The dibur, the Hasidim sing, they said in the Gunim don't even have words, most of the time. It's not because the words are also magashi. So like this is a tricky business. The business of dibur is tricky because dibur, on the one hand, it's boirei lamais or it's maharis lamais, but there's another point to it, and that is that it takes the ruchnius and it makes it into already something gashmi. So once it's gashmi, you lost it.
Is that true for writing it down or something?
Maybe because
lost the light.
Well, there's machlokes and poskim whether you say hirur is different than machshava. Hirur is different than machshava. Hirur is actually when you're thinking about it in picturesque terms. That's what hirur is, as opposed to a machshava. It's not like imagining or fantasizing or really thinking it out. So that's also logic. Hirur is logic. So that's almost like dibur. The Gemara says hirur kedibur, dami ksiva, big shaila. Like it's interesting. Just do the experiment. If you think of a dvar Torah, write it down and see if it works. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes even if you write it down, so if you speak it out, it doesn't work. So Reb Chaim Brisker famously said he looked at a book, a sefer, and he said, not everything that you think do you have to write. Or I think he said, not everything you think do you have to say. And not everything you say do you have to write. And not everything somebody writes do you have to read. It's like it's not there's this. I mentioned here I went to see Rav last week or 2 weeks ago, so I gave him a copy of I was stuck in my mind. I gave him a copy of my sefer on Pirkei Avos, Kehillat Shivtei. So he looks at it, he's looking at it, and he says, why are you giving me Kehillat Shivtei? Why don't you give me the whole thing? Because it ends in Perek Gimel. It's an interesting gift somebody gives. Why don't you give me a bigger gift? So funny. So, but I guess it was a compliment. So I said, the Rav gave me a bracha that I should be zocheh to finish writing Kehillat Bais. And I finished writing. So he said, well, first I'll read Kehillat Shivtei, then I'll decide whether I want to give you a bracha to finish it. So we'll see what happens. I got like some bracha tonight. So here, as a man knows what his bracha is, he knows what his dibur is. He knows that he has a koach hadibur, right? So you have to. So I'm just saying this dibur. What we got from this, we're gonna finish, but just almost finished is dibur. The summary of it is that dibur. First of all, it's not necessarily connected to machshava and ma'isa. We know that dibur is not connected to machshava, but it's not. Dibur is something unto itself, and it has its binyanim and its harisus, it's building and it's destroying, both in this world, lashon hara to destroy people, but also in the next world. You've actually created malachim roim through dibur ra, and by lashon hatoiv, you're actually creating malachim toivim. You're actually creating good energy, and that's really the back room. I mean, what's going on in Shemayim is really the back room. What's going on here? So we can leave it for the engineers and the doctors to worry about what's going on here, but we know the limitations of that. So if you get it from the back, so then you can really accomplish things like peace or war, chas v'shalom, and so it all has to really do with dibur. I want to make a point here, one last point, political point, that whenever something terrible happens, God forbid, a terrorist attack or something, so you always like a lot of times you hear okay, well, the girls have to be more makbid on sneeze. Now, first of all, I don't know why I find that offensive. Like, why are you blaming the poor girls? They're sitting in the Rabbi Yaacov classroom, and there's the Moshe Nefesh Hachaim. They're Moshe Nefesh Hachaim. As much as they don't keep sneeze, they're Moshe Nefesh Hachaim. It's so hard to be part of this world and to be tzanua, the fashion, Paris, everything. You got everything going against you to do it. But besides for that, what they used to say as recently as 20 years ago is that we have to be more careful with the way we talk. Be more makbid on lashon hara. I don't know where that transferred to at sneas. Not only that, it's lashon hara on the basic. It's gufa based lashon hara. But it just seems to me like the old time religion are like that. I understood this. I understood something terrible happens, chas v'shalom, in the world. Let's be careful what we say, because what we say can make a whole difference in Shemayim and energy and what's coming on and what's coming down, mamtir la'ilam hazeh. And that's really like the idea of dibur that would carry your gimel. Okay.